My first guest today is Amy Lindner, President and CEO of United Way. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you so much, Carol. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. And United Way is, such a great organization with a long history. Let's just remind the viewers what the mission is.
Yeah, United Way has been in our community for more than 100 years. And we really are about bringing the community together, Carol. It's about there are real needs across our 4-county footprint. There are real problems to solve. And we are so privileged and so grateful that so many donors, thousands and thousands and thousands of donors, of volunteers, of companies come together every single year to say they want to be part of some of those solutions, which we're really grateful for.
And one of your big initiatives right now is to end family homelessness by 2023. Now, this is very ambitious, and I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Carol. This is one of those initiatives that if you haven't dug in, you might be like, that sounds impossible, but it's not. There are proven solutions that have been working across the country, that have been working especially well right here in our own community, where we know we can end family homelessness by the end of 2023. There's so many strategies happening thanks to some great governmental cooperation, some great organizations, nonprofits, people on the ground doing the work, families, people who've been impacted by homelessness. It really showcases the power of United Way, that this is going to be a hard problem to solve, full stop. It's not a problem any one of us could solve alone. It really does take that collaboration. It really does take that multi-year effort to really change systems and make investments where they're needed to change our systems in a way that this will be something we can accomplish. So it's things like families under 200% of the poverty line in our court system need and deserve, and now thanks to our effort, have a lawyer available to them when they are facing an eviction. Because of our donors, we've been able to embed case managers, specific housing case managers in some of our schools to help target those families who, maybe some people remember these articles of students that were changing schools 4 and 5 and 6 times in a school year because their parents weren't able to maintain stable housing. We've been able to make a huge impact on that pre-existing problem in our community. So many important partners coming together to not only do the day-to-day work better, but really make that systems level change that's going to change this forever in our community.
It's when you break it down that way, it does seem doable. It's still a big job, though.
It's doable. It takes all of us, but it is doable. Yeah.
And when a person makes a contribution to United Way, because of how United Way works with other organizations, that money is amplified. The dollars go further. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, it really does. And it really depends a little bit, Carol, on how a donor decides to give. So some of our donors know us well, trust us well, say, I want to make my entire gift to our community fund. And when people do that, we have pre-existing relationships. We have so many great just ties across the community where those community fund dollars go to more than 200 programs across our 4-county footprint. Last year, more than 200,000 people in our 4-county footprint were positively impacted by one of the many, many programs our donors help fund. Other donors say, hey, I know I want to concentrate my gift to that safe and stable home effort. Or I've heard about your Tequity effort where you're looking to bring equity and technology access in our community, and I want to direct my gift there. Or I want some of my gift to go to one particular agency and some to go to a particular effort or program or the community fund. We really want our donors to give in ways that are meaningful to them, but however it is a donor decides to give to United Way, you're exactly right. It's that scope, it's that scale that allows us to put their dollars together with dollars from tens of thousands of donors and really make that needed impact in our community.
And is there a need for volunteers at United Way?
Always. And if you go to our website, there's a specific volunteer tab, which is searchable in 20 different ways. You can search opportunities by time of day, by group size, by type of impact or work you'd be doing. We're really grateful to all of our community partners who come together and put their own volunteer opportunities on our site. So it can really be that one-stop shop, whether it's an individual, a work team, a book club, a family, a church group. Anybody looking for volunteer opportunities should be able to find something they're excited about there.
That's great. Tell our viewers your web address.
Yeah, it's www.unitedwaygmwc.org.
And viewers, you can also find out information about United Way at milwaukeemag.com/give back. Thank you for being with me today, Amy, and keep up the good work.
I really appreciate it. Thanks, Carol.
Our next guest is Nancy Munoz, an outreach coordinator with Catholic Charities. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, it's good to be here with you today. I know that Catholic Charities does an enormous number of services, provides services to the community. And today, I'd like us to focus on the support that you offer people in the community who need extra resources. Just tell us a little bit about that work.
Yeah, as an outreach and caseworker, we try to connect people with resources. We help clients set up goals to access those resources and also to attain what their final goal is. So it's helping them create different steps to get them to their final goal. And we work with them. We don't work for them. We work with them so to help them gain knowledge and also have a little bit more courage on themselves to be able to reach their goal.
That's a great service that you provide, and it's my understanding that those goals can range from finding housing to finding a job, or even getting a driver's license. Is that true?
Yes, different. Anybody that comes to our doors really have different needs. So yes, it's lately it's been a lot more accessing housing services. But we try to work with them to eliminate the barriers they may exist so that they can access those services more easily.
About how many clients do you deal with in a given year?
We have 10 different, we serve 10 different counties. So each office has different number of clients. I work in the Waukesha County office, and Waukesha County will see a lot of walk-in clients. I would say in a month, I would have 20 to 30 different clients.
Wow, that's a lot of people, and I'm sure that there are any number of you doing this type of work in all of those different offices, so that adds up really quickly.
Yes, it does.
And I know that this isn't your area of expertise, but Catholic Charities also does a lot of work with refugees. In the past few years, Catholic Charities has helped with the Afghani refugees, help them seek asylum and provide those same sort of life support skills and just support in general for immigrants. That's true?
Yes, our Office of Refugee and Immigration Services is providing a lot of those services to our refugees that are coming to our state, Wisconsin, especially in Southeast area. I believe we are also leading an effort to provide legal services for this specific group of refugees. Our office is located in Milwaukee, and they have a lot of linguistic support, which is very needed because they bring not just the language, but the cultural significance in order to provide a more dignified service.
Absolutely, yeah. And that being able to address that language barrier is very important.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Does Catholic Charities have a need for volunteers?
Yes, we're always looking for volunteers. They can go on our website is Catholic Charities Milwaukee, and they can go on our website and they can access those if they need information about volunteering services, or if they anybody that wants to donate anything really can access our website. Is www.ccmke.org.
That's easy to remember, ccmke.org. And viewers, you can also go to milwaukeemag.com/give back and find out more about Catholic Charities and also about all the organizations we're featuring in this series. One last question for you, Nancy. When people make a donation, where does the money go?
The money goes through service all of our programs. If they want to do a specific donation for specific programs, being pregnancy support, adoption, or my program for outreach, they can do a program specific donation, or they can just do a general donation that will serve all of the programs in the organization.
That sounds good. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Nancy. And viewers, Catholic Charities really is doing wonderful work in our community and needs your support. So I hope you'll be generous and give, or volunteer, or both.
Yes,
Thank
you so much.
Take care. And now I'm pleased to have with me Pat Vanderberg, president of Milwaukee Rescue Mission. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Carol. Thanks for having us.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. And we also have Tim Lusink. And Tim was a former participant in Milwaukee Rescue Mission's programs. Good afternoon, Tim.
How you doing, Carol?
I'm good. So let's start, Pat, by talking about Milwaukee Rescue Mission's mission.
Sure. So actually in 2023, we'll be celebrating 130 years serving Milwaukee. We were started in 1892, and the mission has really stayed the same through that whole long history that we enjoy of serving people in need and doing it in the name of Jesus Christ.
Very good. And that is a long history.
It is, and it's remarkable how so many things, of course, have changed over 130 years, and then yet at the same time, some things just stay the same, and that is kind of where we meet people in need. And usually somebody's coming through our front door and they're hungry, or they need a safe, warm place to sleep. And that usually is kind of an open door for us to be able to really help them in more substantial ways.
And I think it's worth noting that while you are a Christian-based organization, you accept participants from any denomination or no denomination.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I would even say not only, I would say because we are a Christian organization that we really do aspire to help anybody and everybody that's coming to us with need.
Very good. Tell me a little bit about the many, many things that Milwaukee Rescue Mission does.
Yeah, I have a hard time keeping track of everything that we're doing, but essentially there are three main pieces to our ministry. We call our ministry to single men Safe Harbor, and there we're providing safe shelter, meals for people who are experiencing homelessness. And then beyond that, we do a lot of work with people who are struggling, for instance, with addiction, and give them a safe place to be and the help that they need so that they can gain the resources and find the help to leave our shelter and go back out and provide for themselves and their families. And then corresponding to Safe Harbor, we also have another part of our ministry that's called Joy House, and that's doing essentially the same kinds of things, but for women with children or for unaccompanied women, or women that do not have children, at least do not have custody of children. And then in addition to those two sort of traditional parts of our ministry, in the last dozen years, we started a Christian school that's called Cross Trainers Academy. It serves students that are coming from families that we're serving in our other shelter programs. And that school has really grown. Now we're serving about 500 students, K4 through 12.
Very good. And Tim, I understand that addiction was one of the issues that brought you to Milwaukee Rescue Mission.
Correct. It was the exact reason I came to the Milwaukee Rescue Mission. I came in around 2017, in August of 2017.
Tell me more.
Exact why I came? Are you asking why?
Yeah, tell me why you came.
Well, I've suffered from addiction for over 25 years. I never really had a solution for it. I've always been a believer, but I just never cooperated. And this seemed to be the answer to decades of prayer. And my mom had found out about a program here called New Journey. I checked into it, wasn't all that interested at first, obviously, because it's a longer program. But after some deep reflection, I came to the realization that it was probably what I'd been praying for my whole life, and decided to surrender myself to it. And it's done wonders.
That's amazing. And in the end, it was the length of the program that was one of the things that made it so effective, is what I understand.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it was. And I think there's multiple reasons for that. It's given you a lot of time to clear, I don't know, dust, to knock the cobwebs out of the brain that hasn't been working the best, and just creating new habits. You're creating new relationships. You're creating church bonds. There's so many different things that happened during my time here, and that continue to happen. But that program, the longer it went, the clearer I was thinking, the more willing I was and less resistant to change. It just kept growing with the time. So the time was one of the best assets.
That's great. And I can imagine that, turning your life around from addiction, there's so many different prongs to that. And one is dealing with the addiction, but one of the others is creating a skill set that you can rely on to create a new type of life. So it sounds like that's what you found at Milwaukee Rescue Mission.
Exactly. And I actually work here now. So it's evolved constantly. It was going through a program, completing that. And then I ended up taking a job here, and that's progressed in a different ways too. So I'm still an employee here. So they're continuing to help me 5 years later, over 5 years later.
But now it's very mutual, because Tim is really become an asset on our team. And so we're just grateful to have him as a former member of one of our programs, and now is just a really impactful contributor to the work that we're doing every day.
That's a beautiful circle.
It is.
Pat, tell our viewers, when they make a donation, where the money goes.
Yeah, so we're really proud of how efficient we've been able to operate this ministry. We rely entirely on donations from individuals and churches and businesses, et cetera, in this community, and that's a beautiful story too. How generous the city of the community of Greater Milwaukee has been to us. 87% or 87 cents out of every dollar that comes into us goes directly to our programs, and then the other 13 cents we use for our administrative costs, overhead, fundraising, those kinds of things. So that makes us, from a fundraising point of view, we're one of the more efficient charities around. We're like I said, we're proud of that. But in addition to that, those 87 cents really have an impact. We are serving hundreds of men, women, and children every day, providing essential needs. But then more than that, we're providing a place where stories like Tim can take place.
Very good. And do you have a need for volunteers?
We do, and we love serving with volunteers. In fact, they've been a great part of our story for 130 years. And so on our webpage, in fact, we've got a volunteer site that people can check out and see the different ways that if they want to get hands-on and help us and partner with us, there's myriad opportunities for them to do that.
Well, that's fantastic. Tell us the web address for Milwaukee Rescue Mission.
Yeah, it's millmission.org. You can even Google Milwaukee Rescue Mission. You're going to find us immediately. And in addition to, all sorts of great information there, there's also some great stories. And that's one of the things that we love to do. We love to tell stories like Tim's, because really they're happening every day here. And they happen because we've got such strong partners in this community that help us do the work that we do.
Fantastic. Well, Pat and Tim, thank you for being with us today. Viewers, if you want to donate or find out more, you can also go to milwaukeemag.com/giveback. And I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that our viewers will give generously.
Thanks so much, Carol.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
And now we have with us as our next guest, the Nature Conservancy. And here to represent the Nature Conservancy, we have Lamont Smith and Wilnisha Smith, who are not related, but both do fine work. Hello to both of you.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Carol.
Good to see you.
Glad to be with you.
So, Lamont, why don't we start out talking about the mission of the Nature Conservancy?
Sure. For the past 70 years, the Nature Conservancy has been protecting the land and waters which all of life depends. And the work in Wisconsin is about the same age. And at that point, really, we began in earnest doing a lot of work across the state to preserve lands that we cherish as the vital natural resources here in Wisconsin.
It's important work, and perhaps more important than ever as we face environmental concerns.
Absolutely.
And part of what you're doing right now is working to add nature to cities. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can. So I'd like to talk about it in the context of just the evolution of conservation work in general. So when the Nature Conservancy began and the work in Wisconsin really took off, land preservation was really the focus of the work. And as the work evolved, land management became very important. So not just preserving land and leaving it in its state that it was acquired, but also bringing about what is called restoration and active management of the land. So returning it as best possible to its native conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, as climate change, the awareness of that became more apparent, the work began to evolve even further. And so that brought us to work in cities. And so since 2010, across the United States, cities programs were established. And in 2021, Milwaukee became one of the newer cities programs, the 26th in the nation. And that work really is focused on conservation in an urban context. And for us, that really is focused on water, as well as nature, improving habitat, naturalizing where we can habitats in Milwaukee to sustain, any plant and animal life that may have been here, which we're finding is here. Rare species, rare plant species. It's all possible here in Milwaukee. But then also climate resilience. So I think that's where the work really does, the conservation work really does begin to focus on how climate change impacts people and how nature can benefit people. And in that way, we've sought to forge partnerships with organizations like Reflow. Some of those main climate challenges we're recognizing are around water, particularly flood hazards around stormwater, but then also other effects such as heat and just the overall benefits that nature we know can have on people, just bringing about overall better well-being and better health.
Very important work. Wilnisha, I know you work on the sponsorship or the partnership, I should say, with Reflow. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Reflow is an organization in the last 7-8 years. Our mission is it's outreach, education, making awareness around green infrastructure. So with the intern program that I assist and run, we are partnering with other organizations to help us get the young people involved in like the climate change and the environmental justice and equality. So increasing green space, increasing awareness of our native areas and bringing more of those green spaces into the city. So similar to what the Nature Conservancy is doing. Removing asphalt at schools, increasing that green space, outreach and education. So not only for the students, but for the neighborhoods, for the teachers, places where they can go and enjoy, that they don't have to go far. A lot of the schools are completely surrounded by homes, but they don't have a lot of green space. A lot of the schools in the city of Milwaukee are kind of gridlocked inside of neighborhoods. The kids don't have places to play that look green. And it also reduces some of the heat island effect as well. So just bringing awareness to all of those issues and educating people on what green infrastructure and green spaces in the city can do.
It sounds like there's so many positive ramifications of that type of work. I'd like to talk a little bit about how our viewers can help in your efforts. When someone makes a donation, where does that money go?
So for the Nature Conservancy, we are philanthropically driven. So the dollars that come in, they do come to our programs departments, and we figure out how to best direct those dollars to get the greatest impact. So for example, now that the Milwaukee program's added to Milwaukee, we're finding ways to support efforts like reflow, for example, just really focus on those multiple benefits of stormwater reduction as a flood mitigation strategy, but as well as Will Nisha mentioned, the impact on neighborhoods and certainly on increasing access to learning opportunities for young people. So really, we're working in partnership with communities in Milwaukee to figure out how to find those solutions. So in essence, we find the best ways to partner with things that have the highest impact in Milwaukee.
Got it.
As well as across the state.
Is there a need for volunteers?
So reflow, we do have projects that we do look for volunteers on. Our Green Schools Conference is one of the big things. We've hosted that conference for the last 6 years. So during that day, we do need a lot of individuals to volunteer for setup and take down and just things throughout the conference. But there are projects that we have community involvement on. So there is on if anyone goes to reflowh2o.com, there's a button there that says get involved. There's a way to donate. There's a way to volunteer. There's a way just to get signed up for more information. So there's a few different ways that people can get involved with reflow, whether, like I said, whether it be through donations or volunteering in that case.
Very good. And Lamont, what is the web address for the Nature Conservancy?
Sure, it's nature.org/Wisconsin. So there is a donate link for us there. But I do want to say that part of the reasons why that it's great to be here with Will Nisha is that we're a large worldwide conservation organization, but I think it's important as we're now in Milwaukee that we get a chance to support, amplify, and add momentum. And I highly encourage people to look at organizations like Reflow as opportunities to give directly. Will Nisha, as she mentioned, they do have ways that you can give directly to Reflow. So I want to say that likewise, we do also, look for volunteers and get people involved. But I really want to say that I'm just happy to be here with Reflow and just to really spread the word, help spread the word about their work. And, I think the impact can be felt just as much in those partnerships, receiving those dollars and directly.
That is a true partnership where you feel that donations to either organization will help the overall effort. So I think that that's a great attitude and certainly one that makes me want to give. Viewers, if you want more information, you could also go to milwaukeemag.com/give back. And it was a pleasure to have you both with me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Carol.